What's going on, guys? The one, the only Water Cool Folk. Got a little update for the build here, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing, kind of like the thought process if you are building a computer. Sometimes when you think your plan is going to work, someone or something, throws a wrench in and you're like, no! But it's always about adapt and overcome your build. I had a specific way of how I wanted my build to look. However, that has since then changed just because of parts, sizing of everything, so all that fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show you like a little goodies that I've got. I'm not going to do a full overview. I'll probably do that in a different video. So right now I have bought the AlphaCool XLX processor cooler. I think that's what it's called, if I could find a dang box. Or XPX, excuse me. So this is the cooler right here. Cool thing is, let me try to get it in camera. There we go. This logo lights up blue, so it's going to go with that nice blue and black theme I'm going for. I also ordered some cables from Performance PCs, which they carry cable mods. That's what I have currently in my case. I'm really satisfied with those products, so I went and bought them again. I have a power supply, which is going to be the Seasonic 750 Platinum Edition, and the cables pretty much are compatible to all those power supplies. So let me see if I can find a cable laying around somewhere. Right here. So this is the sleeving that they have done. This build is going to be hardline tubing. I have decided amongst co-workers to do a UV blue for it, and I think it's going to look really badass. So it'll be UV blue tubing going around, as well as a UV blue reservoir, because we have a lot of black in here. Everything's black, so I'm trying to get a black and blue contrast and not to have just one solid color everywhere. So I decided to get that. I just ordered that. Ordered the blue fittings. They cost $123 or so, give or take. Again, guys, when you're doing this stuff, you're like, man, that's a lot of money. It's the price of doing a custom PETG water cooling build. It's pricey, you know what I mean? It's just how it is. Water cooling, is it needed? Hell, probably not, but it's fun as hell, and I really enjoy it, and I'm gonna make something and call it my own. So there's a couple of mistakes along the way. I'm gonna go ahead and explain them now. Number one, the size of the reservoir. It was way too big. It was 10 inches, and basically it would take up the whole space of the case, and I'll actually get that just one moment. So here's this guy right here. This is about 10 inches long. Now it'll look pretty cool if I could put it underneath like so, but then I wouldn't really have room to kind of undo the caps or anything like that unless I really let me see if I can get that in the shot. I do apologize. Like, I could do something like that, but then it'll be hard because then I'll have all these wires right here that I'm gonna have to tuck in, and I'll be fighting with the wires here to do that. So that was step one. Step one was need to get a new reservoir. Reason being is because this wouldn't really fit either here because of the mount of it. So let me go ahead and move this right here. So if you look, you get this right here, and you won't have any mounting options, or you can do it off the top. Oh, can't do that. That's going to hit the reservoir. So that's why I opt to get a smaller reservoir for it. So I got the 155 millimeter reservoir, which is roughly around 6.6 inches, 6.5, something around there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it's around there. So I'm going to be using this guy right here. So I think it's going to be really sweet and pretty badass, you know what I'm saying, badass, if you just mount it right there, give or take, and then I'm going to have hardline tubing coming out, shoot towards the pump to the rad, go up here, shoot over. It's going to look sick and sexy. So that was one of the problems there. Second one, not measuring radiators and not taking lengths or an accountability of how much more thickness the fans actually add to the radiator. So I have two extra radiators, the AlphaCool UT60 and the AlphaCool X45 Pro. I'll probably do a build with that later on. So I got two rads I can do, and I basically have a pump. Yeah, the PCB's bad, but just put on a new PCB, solder that in, call it good. That's what I did in my previous video. But also the third one is the NZXT Grid version 2 or Grid Plus version 2. This motherboard doesn't have any USB 2.0 connectors at all. I thought I can get the adapter for the USB 3.0 front panel connector. Well, ASUS doesn't make any, so in turn I had to do a backup plan. What was my backup plan, you ask? I had right on hand, I knew just in case, I bought a Silverstone fan controller that's controlled PWM. So that means that you're going to have to connect a 4-pin to your motherboard to the Silverstone PWM fan controller, and that's how you're going to control it. If you don't have this cable plugged into this adapter or fan controller, it's going to run full blast, and I unplugged all the fans. They were just way too loud to test out the lighting on here. So I'm going to show you guys the lighting. You might hear some moving or whatever because my work area is about probably 4 feet on this table. So that's why I really wish I can be able to buy a house right now to afford it. So that's kind of the issues that I've had so far. As far as mounting the reservoir, I'm going to do the same genius idea I came up with, and it freaking worked. So I was like, yes, for the big guy right here. So the K-slabs here on the S3, they use what's called a drop-in mount. Now this could be used, it looks like 120 to 140 fans, meaning you can use a 240 or 280 radiator. So more or less, it's essentially what it sounds like. It's already screwed in, but pretty much I could take all 6 of these screws holding this mount, lift it up, do some modification, and then drop it back in, tighten down the bolts, and call it good. So let me see if I can get that little action right there. Sorry about the mess, but you see how it's all one dropped in, and then you see the 6 screws here, 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 and then there. So yeah. So okay, so now it's going to be, keep on saying that, I do apologize. I'm going to show you the lighting that I have chosen. If you guys haven't seen it, I did a Corsair HD 120 RGB, no sound whatsoever, so if you don't like to hear my voice, it's completely silent. You might hear some noise in the background, but other than that, you're not going to hear anything. So on top of that, I have started putting the Cable Mods cables in. Right now I have the 24 pin and just a SATA 4 connectors on that. So I'm going to see if the SATA can power my fans, pump, and whatever crap I need, because I'm trying to be very minimalistic when it comes to cabling, because the more cables you put in, the more cable management you have to do. In turn, the more or less, pardon my language, it's going to be a pain in the ass to try to get cable management the way I want it. I have an idea in my head, I drew it out, and it looks like it might work if everything comes into fruition. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the lights or whatever. Right now I'm going to have 5 fans total. The maximum fans that you can have on the controller for the Corsair HD RGB is only 6. Kind of disappointing. I wish it had like maybe 8 or 7 or something like that, because what I would really like to do is do a push-pull configuration on the radiator that's in the front, but I think a push will be more than sufficient to keep these the CPU and GPU cool, considering I'm only going to do one GPU. Still have to decide on the GPU. I'm going to wait on that just in case the 1080 Ti launches. More than likely I'll get that. Get a water block that's compatible with this motherboard. I saw BitsPower has a Strix water block, so it can go on it. On top of that, it will use the RGB that's built in onto this motherboard, and it will do the same colors and everything, i.e. RGB. And then get RAM. I'm going to get the G.Skill RGB RAM to go along with my build, just so I have black and blue everywhere. Black and blue. That's what I'm going for, trying to even everything out in the case, and so you don't have one solid concentration. The only one main concentration that I want everybody to look at is this little guy right here, this reservoir that's going to be smack dab at the top. Now the thing is, this is a borrowed reservoir. The great reservoirs, they're cheap. Awesome. However, with this one, unlike the big guy right here, the big daddy, the small one has a lot more UV reactive to it. So I'm not sure if this is something within this guy right here personally. I might be able to see buy a drop-in fix to see if that might work, or maybe the lighting here is not working right, so I'm going to test the short tube that I have. So the borrowed reservoirs actually use UV lighting, i.e. cathode, so you're going to have to make sure you have connections for that. More than likely it's probably going to be a 4-pin Molex or a 4-pin Molex power connector to do that, so we'll see about that. So I'm going to do more experimenting. I really would like to use this guy right here personally, just because it fills out the case too, because I know I said I don't want it, but I want it at the same time, and I'm just afraid because I'm not going to have that much room to lift this cap up. Now I don't need a lot of room, so I might end up just getting a replacement of this guy right here and just have it UV blue if possible. So we're gonna just see and play it by ear and see how that goes. Alright, so it's going to be a little noisy. I'm going to try to rotate the case around like so. Try to pick up majority of all the screws and stuff. Sorry about that. And with the Corsair you get a little controller like so right here. So that's how I'm going to be controlling it. So let me go ahead and have this face forward. I'm going to bring the camera around me. So let me do this. And then the light should kick on pretty quickly if it is jumped like it's supposed to. So let me see what's going on. Now my question is does the fan have to be spinning while this is working? That's the question, and I think there we go. That was my bad. So I'm gonna try to move this at an angle so you guys can see it, and it's very overpowering to the camera, which is kind of bad. So let me see if I can slide this without knocking off the power supply. So that's how far I can get it, guys. I do apologize. I wish I had a better angle. So there's the front. And let me go ahead around, apologize for that. And now I am going to go through a mode. Let me see if I can find one that's pretty interesting. It's solid. A little pulsating action right there. There we go. Now that's cool. I do not like the color, so I can go ahead if I want. I don't like yellow, so I can go ahead and change the color. There you go. A little green action right there. So if you look, if I'm trying to get this all in the shot, and yes, it's a wreck in my room. I do apologize. It's part of building a sweet computer and having limited space. So there you go. Now, if I want, I believe I have a light blue / dark blue. So let me go ahead and change that again. Change the color. Okay. There we go. There we go. So this is blue right here. Now, as you can tell, it's all synchronized. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me see if I might be able to lower the camera a little bit. Just give me 1 second. Right about there looks good for now. So, and I'll go ahead and take this off to show you. Alright, so here we go. Here's the front. And then you go around. I'm trying to get it so you guys can see it. So, boom, boom, boom. And then there you go. So, it looks pretty sweet. I'm probably going to need fan extensions as always. I'm hoping that the color cord, that's what I'm going to call it for now, for the RGB for Corsair is long enough. If not, I might have to call them up and say, hey, do you have extensions? You know, I'm trying to do a very clean build, and I'm really OCD when it comes to cable management. So hopefully everything will be A-okay. So that's the update for now. Fitting should be here Monday or Tuesday. And then I'll probably get one of my buddies to come with his heat gun and then bring back my cord that I have to bend the tube and everything, so we can get somewhat started on the tube bending and everything like that. Also 3M dual lock tape, or whatever you want to call it. It's a plastic material. It's awesome. That's what I'm using to hold the fan controller as well as the RGB controller for Corsair. It's like $15-20 at Home Depot. Just saw that when I looked it up online. So I highly recommend just buying a little bit of that. Buying some Velcro ties that you can get at Home Depot too for cable management in case you don't like zip ties and everything. You might be changing out, you know, cables a lot. I highly recommend getting those. So I guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and as always, rate, comment, subscribe, click that like button, and remember guys, always have a great day now. Bye.